Music, are you ready for a lesson in taking down giants? In this video, we'll uncover the strategies used by underdogs to achieve surprising victories against powerful opponents. But first, let's dive into the legendary story of David and Goliath. Imagine a world where a small shepherd boy defeats a 7-foot giant in battle. Impossible, right? Well, not if you know the whole story. David, armed with just a wooden staff and a sling, approached Goliath, the formidable warrior clad in heavy armor. Goliath scoffed at David, thinking he had no chance against his might. But little did Goliath know that David was a master of slinging stones, having honed his skills by killing bears and lions to protect his flock. David cleverly chose not to engage Goliath in close combat, where size and power would have given the giant the upper hand. Instead, he strategically neutralized Goliath's advantage by using his sling from a distance. With a single stone fired at an opening in Goliath's helmet, David brought down the mighty giant. It was a victory that defied all odds. But this is not just a tale of miraculous triumph. It's a lesson in strategy and ingenuity. And it turns out, underdogs like David achieve surprising victories more often than you might think. Take, for example, a girls' basketball team from Redwood City, California. At the start of the season, most of the girls had little basketball experience, and their shooting skills were subpar. However, they decided to focus on two overlooked aspects of the game: defending the inbounds pass and employing a full-court press. By mastering these specific skills, they managed to outperform more experienced teams, often starting games with substantial leads. Of course, their unconventional approach raised eyebrows and invited criticism. But as the saying goes, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. The Redwood City girls truly embodied this mantra. So, how can you apply these lessons to your own battles against powerful opponents? It starts with assessing the advantages your opponent possesses and creatively neutralizing them. If you're competing against a large business, for example, focus on highlighting the unique value and quality of your products or services, rather than trying to match their efficiency and cost. And remember, unconventional tactics require deep understanding of the rules and a willingness to bend them. Look at what Tim Ferriss did in a Chinese national kickboxing tournament. By studying the rules, he discovered an opportunity to win matches by pushing opponents off the elevated platform rather than relying on traditional kickboxing techniques. But strategy alone isn't enough. Underdogs must also possess tremendous skill and confidence to pull off victories against giants. Paradoxically, they often acquire this skill and confidence by spending most of their time feeling like giants themselves. Studies have shown that students who excel at a good, yet less prestigious university often outperform their counterparts at elite institutions. The reason? When you're constantly surrounded by peers who are better than you, your willingness to tackle audacious goals may diminish. So, aim to be a big fish in a small pond. Seek environments where you feel challenged but know you're one of the best. In the end, battling giants requires the perfect combination of unconventional strategy and self-assuredness. Remember George Bernard Shaw's words: "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself." Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. So, my question to you is this: how will you implement these lessons in your own life? What battles are you facing, and how can you neutralize your opponent's advantages and fight on your own terms? Share your thoughts and strategies in the comments below. And if you found this video valuable and want to support our channel, consider giving a tip proportional to the value you receive. The link can be found in the description. Thank you for watching, and remember, be the David in a world full of Goliaths. Have a productive week ahead. Music. Hey there. Today, we're going to dive into the world of decision-making. You see, making decisions can be tough, and oftentimes, we end up regretting the choices we make. Whether it's selecting a career path, choosing a school, or deciding which job offer to accept. We've all been there. But here's the thing. Studies show that we're more likely to make decisions we regret than we think. For example, did you know that 44% of lawyers don't recommend pursuing a career in law? That's according to the American Bar Association. And get this, teachers are actually twice as likely to leave the school system than students are. So what can we do to avoid these decision pitfalls and make better choices? Well, it turns out that authors Chip and Dan Heath have some valuable insights in their book Decisive. They've identified 3 dangerous decision pitfalls: not considering enough options, being influenced by short-term emotions, and having a false sense of certainty. But don't worry, they also provide us with 3 effective techniques to overcome these pitfalls. The first technique is to widen our options. Imagine this. You rub a magic lamp, but instead of a friendly genie, an evil genie appears and takes away all your current options. Now, you have to come up with a completely new set of options. This exercise, known as the vanishing options test, forces us to think creatively and explore alternative solutions. The second technique is to attain distance from our short-term emotions. Think back to a decision you regret. Were you seeking short-term comfort when making that decision? We often prioritize instant gratification over our long-term values. But here's a trick. Ask yourself, what would I advise my best friend to do in this situation? By putting ourselves in their shoes, we can gain emotional distance and make a clearer decision. Lastly, we need to reality test our assumptions. Let's say you're in the market for a new car. You've done your research and narrowed it down to one choice. But before committing, take it for a test drive. Don't make big decisions without getting a feel for what it's really like. Conduct a small trial or experiment to gather evidence and make a more informed decision. So, the next time you find yourself facing a difficult decision, remember to wage war on bad decision-making. Widen your options, attain distance from short-term emotions, and reality test your assumptions. By following these techniques, you'll improve your decision-making skills and avoid future regrets. If you found this video valuable and want a one-page PDF summary of the key insights from Decisive, click the link below and I'll email it to you. And hey, if you haven't already subscribed to our free newsletter, make sure to do so. You'll receive exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Thanks for watching, and remember to make this week a productive one. Hey there, in this animated book review, we're diving into Decisive: How to Make Better Choices in Life and Work by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. These two brothers have identified 4 villains that often stand in the way of effective decision-making. Let's explore them and discover strategies to defeat them. The first villain is narrow framing. This means limiting our choices to either or decisions. But most decisions can be framed as whether or not choices. Instead of thinking in terms of this or that, strive to find ways to have both options. Expand your options and consider the opportunity cost of each choice. For example, when buying a stereo, should you spend $700 on the system and $300 on music, or invest in a $1,000 stereo and have less money for music? By considering the opportunity cost, you can make a better decision. So, widen your options to defeat narrow framing. The second villain is confirmation bias. This bias leads us to seek out information that supports our pre-existing attitudes or opinions. It's like when a doctor diagnoses a patient early in an interview and only asks questions that confirm their assumption. To overcome this bias, we need to reality test our assumptions. Actively seek out information that challenges your beliefs. For example, in relationships, the confirmation bias can lead us to focus only on the negative aspects of our partners. But keeping a marriage diary and recording positive things can help us see the bigger picture and overcome this bias. Next up is the third villain, short-term emotion. Our emotions can cloud our judgment and lead us to make decisions based on temporary feelings. To defeat this villain, it's important to distance ourselves from intense emotions before making important decisions. Seek advice from others who can provide an unbiased perspective. They might be able to make a better decision for you when emotions are running high. And finally, the fourth villain is overconfidence. Once we make a decision, we tend to stick with it, even if it turns out to be wrong. To beat overconfidence, we must accept the possibility of being wrong and learn from our mistakes. Challenge your decisions by revisiting them later on and evaluate the outcomes. Continuously learn and adapt. Also, setting personal limits can help prevent overconfidence. For instance, if investing in a business deal, set a limit on how much you're willing to invest. Having boundaries helps you avoid getting carried away by overconfidence. To recap, defeat narrow framing by widening your options, overcome confirmation bias by reality testing your assumptions, conquer short-term emotion by distancing yourself before deciding, and defeat overconfidence by being open to learning from your mistakes and setting personal limits. While this video provides a glimpse into the main ideas from the book, I strongly recommend checking out Decisive to delve deeper into these concepts. The anecdotes and examples shared in the book will enhance your understanding and application of these strategies. If you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. By subscribing, liking, and hitting the notification bell, you'll gain access to exclusive benefits and achieve the goals mentioned in this video. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What actions are you going to implement in your life based on the insights shared in this video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you found this video valuable, feel free to give a tip proportional to the value received. You can find the link in the description.